right, hello everyone, and welcome to Star Trek Bastet, Season 2, Session 2. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. We're an actual play podcast that is role-playing using the Star Trek Adventures rule system by Modifius Entertainment. And if this is your first time here, again, hello. We're running with an interesting premise of a time-traveling Prometheus class with a skeleton crew of young, untested officers. Now, of course, don't stress if you can't stick around for the full session or if you missed the previous episodes. I tend to run things in an episodic fashion, so it's very easy to play catch up, and all the VODs and audio only versions are on YouTube and most of the popular podcast solutions. I don't really have much of announcements, so I'm going to use this time instead to do a quick few shout outs to the Twitch crowd. So I do want to say thank you so much to Genesis and Sir James Boquet for the bits. I want to say thank you to Genesis 2001 for the subs. And Navashi, hopefully I said that right. Thank you for the Prime sub.
That was me.
That was you. Well, even better. I think I need to make you a VIP so I know it's you. But in general, I don't really have much in the way of other announcements, so let's have the players introduce themselves, starting with the captain.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex. I am playing the Cation captain, Abasi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nikhil, and I play Lieutenant Salim Alexio.
Hello, I'm Brian, at MindOverBrian on Twitter and Twitch, although on Twitch it's spelled with a 0, and I am playing Lieutenant Baylor Droxine, our Danon first officer and helmsman.
That would be you, Wolf.
You're muted.
Yeah, you are muted.
Oh, I really screwed the pooch on that one, just like I always do. Tavarin would know about that. But no, I'm Derek Wolf. I'm playing the spunky captain. Not captain. Fuck, doctor. I am doing bad tonight, everybody. I got like nervous jitters. I'm playing the doctor. I was the captain in the last one. Almost got us killed, but it's fine. Continue. Jesus Christ.
How am I supposed to follow that up? Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew. I play Tyr Thavarin, who is a Benzite raised on Andoria. I am the security and engineering officer.
If you don't know me by now, I'm ELH the Game Master, and let's run our soon-to-be outdated introduction. All right, and welcome back, everybody. So something I like doing is having the players do an opening log. I believe, Captain, you have that today.
Yes, I do. Captain's log, stardate 537885.4, or thereabouts. It would appear that what Ensign V warned me about before would turn out to be true after all. Emerging from the temporal vortex, we ended up when we aimed for, if not exactly where. The Bastet found herself back in 2376, 5 days after we left space dock. However, this time frame appears to be one in which the Borg have overrun the Federation. It seems this alteration is also been the direct lead to our encounter with the U.S.S. Titor, the flagship of Fleet Admiral Ignitrix. Not exactly the welcome home any of us had been expecting. In my conversations with the Admiral, some interesting developments came about. For one, we were able to finally get Commander Marlowe transferred off the ship to get the medical attention that he requires. The process didn't exactly go well. The initial attempts to remove the commander from his stasis field, well, when the field deactivated, according to Dr. Cater, Marlowe began to fall into cardiac arrest. There was some quick juggling to set him up with a mobile stasis unit to then be brought over. The next issue came from a fault in the sick-base transporter grid. A spontaneous power flux in the pattern buffer began to decompile the commander before ever erecting a containment beam. We were able to restore his pattern on the pad just as the system was going offline entirely. I'm not sure what would have happened if we hadn't been able to do this. but it seems this was some undetected damage from our small skirmish with the Borg. Our next attempt was to make use of one of our shuttles. Unfortunately, the stasis unit would not fit within either of our Type 9 shuttles, and for whatever reason, Lieutenant Verissa insisted that we do not touch the Type 5. I'll have to find out what that's about later. The eventual remedy was that the Titor used one of its own shuttles to come make the pickup and transfer. Of course, that didn't go quite smoothly either. The runabout they sent over suffered a loss of power partway back to the Admiral's vessel. I believe it was adrift for about 15 to 20 minutes before it was recovered. Lieutenant Mir and Lieutenant Relure both had better luck in my request to get them some assistance. In Lieutenant Relure's case, the medical staff aboard the Titor were able to do more for her than our good doctor has been able to. A few rejuvenation treatments are still required for her to get full vision back, but she was warned that additional trauma may result in a permanent loss that cannot be fixed. For Lieutenant Mir, as we had discussed before, she'll probably need to head to Trill for whatever's afflicting her to be worked out. We were given permission to head to Trill, assuming that our next mission is a success. This mission itself, well, is to investigate the cause of the aforementioned Borg invasion of the Alpha and Beta quadrants. Another trip through time, back approximately to mid-April of 2153, to the era of the Enterprise NX-01. We've been given some historical logs on an encounter that Captain Archer had with, as he called, cybernetic life forms. I think that's as good of any as a place to start. Now, I need to prepare a briefing for the crew. I've called all officers to the conference room. I'm going to have to break the news to them. We're not going home. End log.
All right. Well, I'd give you momentum, but you're already at cap, so no point to giving you more. So, as requested, we are going to start in the conference room as requested by the captain. And the captain is, of course, at the head of the table, and as everybody filters into their usual spots, I'd like to flavor a little bit by saying that there's a little bit of nervous energy in the air. All of you are expecting the captain to either give you the most amazing news in your life, or you're going to find out that you're not going home again, which maybe you're used to at this point, maybe you're not, who knows. But in any case, once Ensign V, the last one to arrive, sits at her seat opposite the captain at the far end of the table, everyone's eyes turn to Captain Abasi.
Let's see. As everyone turns to look towards Abasi, one of the things that should be noticed almost immediately, the single gold and black pip have been replaced by 3 gold pips. I'm not sure how to begin, so I will just say it. We've been given an assignment from the Fleet Admiral. We have been inducted into the Babylon fleet.
But Droxine was supposed to be on the Enterprise.
Yes, Doctor.
I don't know what that means. Just asking for the group.
That means we're not going home.
Oh, okay.
But it also means that
Yeah.
we're part of the fleet again, Doctor. We're back in the actual Starfleet. We're not just some random ship out here. We are an actual Federation vessel. We have orders, we have a hierarchy, we have a command.
So does that mean we're technically home then?
Yes and no.
But
Cool.
no, not Cool. This isn't our Federation. This isn't our fleet. This isn't our admiral. What do you mean we've been? What do you mean we're not going home?
We are going to continue with our time travel. We have become the Babylon fleet's time ship, essentially. If you want to stay where we are currently in a quadrant overrun by the Borg, you're welcome to stay. But our mission is to try and correct that, which will require a jump through time.
Sir, there are 10 of us aboard this ship. Keeping it staffed to a reasonable degree has been, for lack of a better term, a nightmare. Are you saying this is going to become a permanent situation?
I am saying that as of the Admiral's departure from our vessel, every single one of you is assigned to this ship, not simply transferring from post to post. This is your ship now.
What does this mean for us long term? If we're not from this time, and they're not giving us any more personnel, does that mean we're trapped on this ship forever? And that's a situation you thought it would be okay to decide without consulting with the rest of us?
The captain doesn't have to explain his decisions to you, Commander.
He does when it affects my whole life, Tavarin.
He's your commanding officer, and you're a Starfleet officer, as are we all.
Sure, for the moment. But from what I understand, he just decided that I never get to see my parents. I never get to see my grandparents. I never get to see the Enterprise E. I'm trapped aboard this vessel.
I knew that was coming.
For the rest of my life. I'll never become captain because we already have a captain. I'm not saying I want your job, sir. What I am saying is I hope to eventually make it there. And if my hopes are to be only to have a crew of 9 after you've been sadly killed in action, well, you'll bet your ass I object.
Droxine, everyone is dead. We have no family. There is no Enterprise E. There's nothing to come back to. Unless we follow our Admiral's orders, I don't even know who this person is, but unless we follow her orders and actually restore the timeline, that's a moot point.
So let me see if I understand this correctly. There's an admiral from our time, or from our universe, who has adopted us, and she knows where the timeline is broken so that we can get home, and we're going to go fix it. That's the plan?
The plan is to, yes, she knows where the timeline has fractured. We are being sent back to go correct that. We are, however, inducted into the fleet.
And I think Tamarochka kind of leans in a little bit, puts her elbows on the table, and says, I don't normally agree with Droxine on things, but he does have good points. What does this mean long term? It seems that we are, for lack of better term, a prison ship now, and we are prisoners. Is that correct? And before anyone else can say anything, Ensign V mirrors Tamarocha, sort of leaning in on the table, and says, maybe it's time for you to tell them, Captain.
Abasi just kind of nods his head slowly. Unfortunately, with the event that started all of this, our objectivity to time itself, we were never going to fully return to our own time. We have been removed from the timeline.
Okay, I have a question. Does this mean we get to live forever? technically.
Then Ensign V cracks a smile and says, "No, it doesn't mean you'll live forever, but I guess it's unless you want to field this, Tamarochka." And Tamarochka goes, "I don't know what the fuck this is about. You're the Q, a former Q with approximate knowledge of all things." So, and V does say, "Yeah, I do say that." So here's the deal: if I were a Q or still a Q, I could snap my fingers and fix all this. But until you find an entity that is capable of such, you're objective in time. Now, what that means is, yeah, you can leave the ship and you can go about your merry way. But if a change in the timeline happens and you're not on this ship, whatever you're on, whatever ship you're on, could vanish out from underneath of you, putting you in deep space without an environmental suit, without any way of getting to safety, and you would have no recourse. So until we fix that problem, yes, you are kind of stuck here.
We're on the immortal ship. That's awesome.
Shut up.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
You mean to say that we've been completely excised from the timeline? In other words, nobody knows that we even existed. Our parents, our loved ones. There's no actually getting back to that. My father never adopted me. There's nothing.
And he does noticeably frown at that and says, "Unfortunately, yes. Till you figure out how to reverse what happened to you initially, that is going to be the case."
All right. So the doctor picks up his holographic cat, puts it on the ground. It disappears.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Look, I know everyone's very upset, and I've been sort of laissez-faire about this whole thing, but isn't this the reason we joined Starfleet? And please, just hear me out here. To boldly go where no one's gone, to explore strange worlds and be objective in time, or something or whatever. But, like, this is why we joined Starfleet. V's not saying that we can't get back. She's just saying it's going to be hard, and anything worth doing is difficult. So why don't we just accept the adventure and figure this shit out? Or whatever.
And
Because according to the
R'hllor,
captain,
oh, go ahead.
we've given up on trying to get home, and now we're part of some Babylon fleet that does God knows what in who knows where, and we're going to be the time part. Ha ha! But that isn't fixing our problem. That's fixing their problems.
My backup plan was always to ditch this ship and just blend into some timeline, which seemed fine to me. Now, I'm finding out that that's not viable. Is that right, Ensign V?
More or less.
Oh,
Though,
jeez.
I don't really know how to say this, so I'll just be blunt. This isn't as bad as it's probably coming and hitting you right now. Like, yes, it's objectively bad, but it doesn't have to stay that way forever. Cater does have insight here. There are ways to fix it, you just have to find them.
And bumbling around by ourselves without the support of any fleet is probably not the best way to survive this whole thing. I know I called it the invincibility ship, but it's probably not. I mean, we almost died a few times. But more to the point, we now have the support of the Federation. And yeah, we do a couple missions, but maybe they'll help us. So I say let's give it our all. Team, Captain. Oh, also congrats on your official promotion, not just the one I gave you. Got you, Captain Kitty.
And R'hllor kind of cracks a smile and says, "He's commander, not cat." Oh, yeah, sorry, still can't do the seeing thing. But I do have a one way to make the tension in the room go down. And she kind of looks up at the ceiling. "Computer, create a golden hologram of the Enterprise Z above Droxine's head, approximately 6 inches by 4 inches." And everybody notices a little model of the Enterprise Z form above Droxine's head.
Beautiful.
Bussard collectors, I think that they have to be updated. I think that's an old template.
Well, I can't see, so I'm just going to have to take your word for it.
Yeah, it's not a reflection of the refit version of the Sovereign class. At any rate,
Computer, can you make it fly around Droxine's head and make little noises?
Oh, let it shoot lights like it's shooting phaser
Yes,
cannon thing.
yes.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Like pew pew. Put little like other little ships.
I think
It's like
that's
a
what I'm going to
battle.
use my evil Q powers on to torment Droxine a little bit. To make it actually, yes, begin flying around and shooting miniature little phaser blasts.
Captain, request to be dismissed.
Not yet, Droxine.
Permission to speak freely.
Go ahead.
I'm stuck on a crew of people who hate me, who have seen my life crumble before my eyes and have decided to mock me, and you're going to keep me in the room? Thank you. Awesome. This is the best. You have earned my eternal respect, all of you, and I couldn't be happier.
I am keeping you here for a reason.
Sure you are.
Computer, deactivate the hologram of the Enterprise E.
And you see a Scimitar class warbird come in and blow up the Enterprise E before both holograms disappear.
Tavarin, we were just having some fun, but that was harsh. That was uncalled for.
I didn't ask the computer to do that, but I think we're going to have to chase down some gremlins inside the computer core. Nonetheless, Commander, you are right. You are befitting of a certain degree of respect in light of your position, even if, as a person, you aren't.
And Relord looks in your general direction, Tavarin, like, okay, was anybody else heard that backhanded comment? Because, all right, look, Lieutenant Droxine, I'm just doing it because I'm trying to lighten the mood. Like, I know my humor's off the mark 99% of the time, but that's how I cope, is humor. And that, I don't know, I'm just trying to lighten the mood, man.
Cool.
Anyways, I have one last matter of business to attend to for the crew before we undertake our mission as given to us. The Admiral has given me authorization to hand out promotions. Lieutenant Droxine, for your assistance from the start of this, I do see fit to grant you the rank of Lieutenant Commander, with all the rights and privileges therefore.
Oh. Well, thank you, sir.
Abasi's going to walk over and hand over the pips. It's going to stand there for a minute. We haven't given up. It may seem like that right now, but we haven't. Next, he's going to turn and look towards Lieutenant Tamaruchka.
Oh, no, you are not promoting me. I am not getting promotion. No.
Yes, you are, as of this point, a full lieutenant.
I was already full lieutenant. See, I have gold pips just like you. I've always been lieutenant. Is this joke? I'm sorry, Lord. Have you been instructing Captain on humor? No, I this no.
I thought you were Lieutenant Junior grade like the rest of us.
And I would, at this point, would like anyone who would care to roll me a fitness command, difficulty of 2, please.
Interesting.
Oh, nope.
If you have anything related to time travel or observation or people reading, this would all be
Facial
good focuses.
phenomenon.
Not quite.
There you go.
All right, so Alexio's going to notice something, and then I think we're only missing a few more rolls here.
I'll just give it a shot.
All right, so Abasi's not going to notice, that's for sure. I'm going to take threat for that complication instead of doing the complication.
Nope.
All right, so I think everybody's just going to... So everybody but Alexio, you're going to write this off as, oh, yeah, you're right. She's always just been a lieutenant kind of a thing. Alexio, on the other hand, you know 100% that that is not the case. That she was lieutenant junior grade like the rest of like everybody else. And in fact, as you look around the table, noticing that as you look at everybody's rank pits, nobody here is lieutenant junior grade. Not even you. You look down at your own uniform and you see, no, you're a lieutenant now. You're not a lieutenant junior grade. You have gold pips. In fact, the only people that aren't, aside from Abasi and Droxine, is V, and V is still an ensign.
Uh, uh, Captain, take a closer look at the pips of everyone around the table and tell me whether this matches what you think it should be, because I don't think it does.
This is, one by one, take a look around the table.
What are you doing? We're all lieutenants. I don't like. Is this a practical joke? Because I don't get it either, Tamarochka.
As he's looking, his tails just kind of puff out a little bit, as this is not what he was expecting to see.
I just don't get the gag. Am I missing something?
We were Lieutenant Junior grade. I don't know if this is time travel shenanigans, but believe me, my performance at the academy would not have merited anything above a junior. It didn't even merit the junior grade, frankly. But these full lieutenant pips here, that's not what it should be.
What are you talking about? You were like top in your class, weren't you? Like you got promoted above. I'm really confused. I am Captain.
Too.
I think I need to take. I think I need to
All
take
right.
our young
Does it
lieutenant
make
here.
sense that I would be top of my class?
I'm not even going to dignify that ridiculous question with an answer.
I take out my
Alexio.
medical tricorder, start scanning for some sort of like alien virus or something that's messing with the crew's brains.
Yeah, so
Completely convinced that they're going insane.
As Cater, as you pull out your tricorder, Barissa clears her throat and says, well, let's pause it for a moment that Alexia was correct, that we should all be Lieutenant Junior grades. Is that not a sign that something else has happened? Let's think about this logically for a moment. Everyone on the ship, save for the ensign and Alexio, ended up going over to the Titor or interfacing from someone with the Titor. So perhaps something that ship did messed with our objectivity somehow. Is that not a good sign?
I'm still not convinced it's not a virus. I'm just going to keep scanning.
Yeah, and what I would say,
Wait.
Cater, is everyone does check out medically. No abnormalities.
Probably a cloaking virus. I'm going to keep scanning.
So it is a promising theory. One which we may be able to test at some point.
I don't understand. I thought objectivity, you were objective or you weren't. Is it like a spectrum? Are we just mostly objective? What could explain this?
And Ensign V kind of crosses her arms and puts her right hand to her chin and says, well, although I don't really have the same knowledge as I wish I did, I think Verus is onto something here. If the Admiral has a time-traveling ship, that means that she has some form of objectivity as well. And if an objective unit recognizes another objective unit before it becomes objective, yes, that might be it. How to explain? Basically, the Admiral promoted you before she even knew you existed. Does that make any sense? Also, it is the chat theory. The chat beat me to the punch on that one, so good job, chat. You guys are thinking forward.
But didn't the Admiral say she was from the future of our timeline? So even if she made a note and it would have come back around, Okay, I thought I had a headache before, but now I've definitely got a headache.
Yeah, I'm going to have to re-advise what I was planning for the most part, with two exceptions. Lieutenant Alexio,
Yes.
I am officially assigning you as our temporal intelligence officer and liaison to the Babylon fleet.
Liaison. Well, I am rather charming, but it's well, it's an honor you look to me for more responsibility.
Well
And if I can
deserved.
interject just real quick, what that means, Alexio, is you actually now gain the benefits of being an intelligence officer.
Nice.
If you don't know what that means, because it has been a while since Mata Hari, basically what it means is every single mission you can create an advantage for free if you can link it back to some intelligence report that you read or some form of intelligence information that you're aware of.
Awesome. That's gonna be very helpful.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Carry on.
And then my, I guess, third, fourth, whatever it is at this point, Ensign V,
Yes.
I am promoting you to the rank of Lieutenant Junior Grade.
No. Well, thank you. I'm not sure I did anything to deserve it, but thank you.
I have a lot to process now, but we do have a mission to start.
Yes, about that. Did the Admiral exactly say how we were supposed to be traveling through time? Did she give plans to anyone aboard? Because I never received any dossiers about how the fuck I'm supposed to put this ship back into NX era.
The Admiral said she was going to send the required documents straight into main engineering. Did you not receive any?
And Tamarochka looks over at Tavarin. Do you know anything about this? Because I know nothing about this.
Well, we didn't know that there was anything that we had to know, so maybe if we go check, the plans will be there. We weren't looking for them before.
Hold on. Where's my tricorder? She pats herself and pulls out a tricorder and taps a few buttons and goes, Oh, oh, actually, that's rather inventive. So, Captain, you are familiar with slingshot maneuver, yes?
Yes.
Well, there is sun perfect for that about 1 light year distant.
All right, let's set course.
And then, yeah, I think everybody just does sort of that look around, waiting for the official "you're dismissed" line, unless anyone has any other points of order to bring up.
I would just say when they're dismissed, Thavarin would like to speak with the doctor for a moment. Pull him to the side.
Sure.
Oh. Computer, recreate therapy cat.
All right, everyone's dismissed.
All right. So, yeah, everybody filters out, and Tavarin, you do hang back to have a word with Cater.
Cater is still scanning for microbes and then realizes, all right, it's not microbiology. It's got to be something different. Maybe it's a phasic creature. Or, Tavarin, why are you staring at me? It's making me uncomfortable.
And
I think you do.
Tavarin will not respond, but he will stand and walk over to the doctor. His spine is rigid, and he is shifting somewhat uncomfortably, even though he seems to be attempting to stand at attention.
It's like a bone disease or something? Like, I could probably fix it, but I don't know if I want to. You're kind of a dick.
Doctor,
Yes.
I have precious little respect for you. In fact, that's me being polite, which is rare. I have no respect for you whatsoever.
Cool. So you're still a dick. We can't fix that, but if your bones are broken, I could probably do something about it. We'll see.
Unless you deny me treatment again, just like you did previously in complete
You
contravention of
totally
the
asked for
Hippocratic Oath.
that. You were being an asshole. Like, I know we're officers or whatever, but like, show a little respect or something. Jeez. You're a good engineer, I guess.
This is
Well, you're
not
good
what I
at-
wanted to talk about, Doctor.
All right, let's let it out. Let it out. It's good therapy. Let's go.
This may be the most difficult thing that I will ever have to do in my career. But what you just said in that meeting about our responsibility as Starfleet officers and about our commitment to the principles of the Federation and Starfleet's goals, I may not respect you, but I've never come closer to respecting you than I just did.
Cater's gonna reach out, put his hand on his shoulder, and be like, "It's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. You're still an asshole." Pat his face twice, and then walk away.
Nicest thing I've ever said to anyone, too.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
By the way, Matt, you're the fucking man. I love you, dude.
Love you too, Wolf.
All right. So next up, we're going to go to the Bastet Bridge as everybody gets prepared into their stations for what's essentially a slingshot maneuver around the sun. Now, for those who don't know what the hell that means, I invite you to go watch Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. But here's the quick TLDR version. Basically, the Bastet is going to be flying very fast towards the sun, and then as it angles around and loops back around, flying away from the sun, it's going to hit warp speeds, and in doing so, will cause a time dilation effect, therefore slingshotting it back through time. So this must be done very carefully and very crucially. The Admiral has given you significant notes on this matter, but it's still going to be a difficult task. So, here's how this is going to break down. One person can do a role here, and they're going to be the primary for this role. This can be Droxine at the helm. This can be Tavarin at tactical/engineering. This can be Alexio doing something with the security systems. Hell, this could be the captain doing an inspiring speech. Whatever it is, you're the lead. One other person may assist you, and the ship will also assist you with a computers and engineering. Now, the difficulty on this will be a 5, so you probably are going to want to use some of that momentum. And based on who wants to take the lead, I will tell you the appropriate task I think would be a good fit for you.
See, I do not want to take the lead on this one, but I would like to assist since I do have advisor.
Okay.
My vote is for Droxine because he's just gonna focus and maybe funnel all his rage into flying. Maybe.
Captain, I may not be happy about this, but I have always wanted to perform this maneuver.
Just don't burn us up.
Not necessarily with the Bastet, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
All right, First Officer Kitty, we're not gonna die. Probably.
All right, well, Droxine, what that's going to be then is this going to be a daring and a con. Again, difficulty of 5. Let me take a look at your focuses here because you might have one.
Astro navigation.
Yeah, I'd give you astro navigation.
What is the ship rolling?
The ship is going to be rolling computers and engineering.
I assume I'm using my presence and command.
You got it.
Hold on to your tails.
I hear we have 6 momentum. Can I have 4 of them and roll a couple extra dice?
3 if you want
3
2
of
extra.
them. Yeah, sorry, 3 of them.
Yeah.
Would my galactic history maybe be a applicable focus?
Not quite yet, but that definitely is a focus that will be crucial coming up.
That's why I'm rolling this with no focus.
Oh, and since nobody's rolled yet, I'm going to use that Q powers evil to create a not a complication, but an increased complication range. So, Droxine, your complication range is now an 18 to 20.
Oh, great.
My favorite part of this is everything.
All right. Well, no help from the
Here
captain.
comes the-
No
no
help
help from
from
the
the
ship.
Bastet. We're starting off strong, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, in which case, before I roll the dice,
Hmm.
I would like to trigger my greatness can come from the humblest of origins
All
value.
right. In that case, you're going to need to give me 2 more momentum, so you are rolling 4 dice.
And don't forget, you will also get to reroll one of your d20 because of my advisor.
Excellent. So yeah, I'll start with the 2 successes and then.
Okay. All right.
Boom.
That is 6 successes. Let me check that 0 real quick. That 0 is not a complication. Do you wish to re-roll it?
No.
Do it. Tempt fate. Come on. Tempt fate.
No.
Tempt fate.
No.
What's the
Come on.
worst
Come
that
on.
could
Come on.
happen?
That's part of the game. It's part of the fun. Tempt it. Tempt it.
I mean, he makes an excellent point.
All right, hey, you get another momentum. So, yeah, you guys are now up to 3 momentum. And what we see is an external shot of the Bastet rapidly approaching this red giant star. And it looks almost from a certain angle that the Bastet is flying directly into the sun's corona. But instead, what happens is using the metaphasic shielding that is standard on all Starfleet vessels after a certain time period, you just barely sort of skate the rim of the sun's influence. And as you angle around and rapidly slingshot your way around, a vortex begins to form around the Bastet. And as the Bastet hits that breakaway point, puts all of its engine power into breaking away, there's a sudden lurch as the ship launches itself into a temporal vortex. And the temporal vortex is actually a very smooth affair. Like, usually so far when you've tried different time travel, it's been very, shall we say, bumpy. Like, the inertial dampeners don't keep up. Maybe there's some explosions of consoles. This is very smooth, very nice. In fact, this is probably almost akin to just normal warp travel. It's that smooth. And it ends almost before it begins. In fact, you're maybe in it for all of 10, 15 seconds before you snap back into regular space.
I want sensor scans, try and find out if we made it to where we were aiming.
Hi, sir. Taking astronomical. I don't know. I'm not a science guy. I'm going to make a science check, though. So we're going to do control science, right?
Reason science in this aspect.
Reason science. All right, thank you. Reason and
you guys also did get a momentum from chat, so enjoy that as well.
You guys are just the bee's knees. I'm just going to spend it. Screw it.
And
Get weird.
do we not then have 6 momentum because we got 7 successes with the spend of determination?
So 7 successes. You were at 1. So it was difficulty 5. You got 2 momentum. So no, you should be at 3 after the 1 spend. Unless I'm forgetting something.
That's right, because he spent 5 and we didn't take that away originally. Okay.
Difficulty's only a 1 here.
Ooh, boom. 2 more momentum back.
And yeah. So, Cater, I have good news and I have bad news. Which would you like first?
I want the bad news always.
Well, the bad news is you didn't quite hit 2153, but temporally you're really close. Specifically, you are in 2135 towards the end of the year, but you are where you're supposed to be. So either the admiral, either something in her calculations threw you off, or something about the way the maneuver was executed threw you off. Or maybe it was all planned from the beginning. One of those is correct. The good news, though, is that you are detecting something significant on sensors. In fact, you are detecting an NX era class ship. Specifically, the NX05, the U.S.S. Challenger.
All right, sir, I have good news and bad news. We're where we're supposed to be, but not when. Also, the something Challenger, I'm having trouble reading the scans. It's on sensors. We undershot by like 5 years.
Don't forget your untapped potential.
Captain, might I suggest holographically cloaking the ship?
Hey, threat, nice.
Yes.
Also, small point of order. No, this is the correct time. You were going for 2153. You're in 2155 right now. So you're still close. You're just not You didn't undershoot, you overshot.
Oh, we
or-
overshot. I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So like the timeline rewinds itself, and Cater doesn't say those things, and then he says the right thing.
Just
Time
as a
travel.
point of
Doesn't
order so
sound like
nobody
Cater
gets
at all.
confused. But yeah, as everybody sort of looks around like, what do we do next? Mir actually speaks up and says, Captain, are we sure that's the Challenger?
Running a confirming scan, Captain. Please
And
do.
Droxine, we actually haven't had a chance to do this much yet. I'd like you to roll me a Insight and Con difficulty of 1. And if you have Starship Recognition, yes, that is a focus.
I do not. I thought about taking it, but I did not.
I have it.
I tell you what, I mean, if Abasi wants to do the Insight Con, that is also something that could happen.
I do not have a good con score.
Try it anyway. Let's see what happens. Live dangerously.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wait. I have advisor. Can I?
Can you
That's not how that
advise the
works.
captain?
Can I
I mean, technically you could, but I don't. You'd have to give me some role play for it.
no, because you have to assist him using your command discipline, which is not what I'm.
Yeah.
I can't give him my con. It's not how that works.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in the commander.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and use 1 momentum for another die.
Okay. Takes you down to 4 momentum.
I think it's Starship Recognition.
Oh, yeah. And you get that momentum right back. Yeah, that's the Challenger, all right. But something's wrong. You check the date. According to this date, the Challenger was supposed to be destroyed or lost as a result of Romulan attacks. It shouldn't be intact. It shouldn't be here in space where you are. But there it is, on sensors.
Do we know if they've detected us yet?
If you give me 2 momentum, I will answer that question. Or 1 momentum, I will answer that question.
Let's
Think of
keep
that.
it, guys. Let's keep it.
Dr. Cater, can you take scans to see if they've noticed us?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
So what I'm going to say then is the good news is that they have not noticed you yet, but they are headed in your general direction. So you probably want to do something.
Sir, recommend that we go to Cloak. They don't seem to have noticed us, but they are heading directly for us.
Let's activate the holographic projection system.
Hi, sir. What do you want to look like?
Like an NX.
You want to name a specific one, or should I just choose?
As long as it's not the Enterprise.
I know. Obviously, I definitely don't have to go into the registry and find out what the other NX ships are.
I gotcha. There is the Enterprise, the Columbia, the Challenger, the Discovery, the Atlantis, the Endeavor, the Intrepid, the Avenger, the Curie. I think that's all of them. And as a reminder, the Columbia was the NX02. So it is technically available. It just is, we see it in like, what, 2 or 3 episodes of Enterprise? So.
My heart's on the
GM.
Avenger. But
Which
No, the
one
Atlantis.
was V on?
V was on, if I remember correctly, she was on the Intrepid.
Let's go with the Intrepid then.
bold
Okay.
choice, Cotton. Bold choice.
All right. So we sort of go to the exterior of the ship where almost like a cloaking effect mixed with that holographic technology as the Bastet changes shape to the viewer to resemble a NX era starship, specifically the Intrepid, the NX07. And not a moment too soon, because after a moment, Verissa turns and says, They're hailing us, sir. Should I put it on view screen or audio only, perhaps?
Audio only, please.
And the voice of a human male, maybe in his late 50s, he at least sounds older, comes over and says, well, hello there. This is Captain Lane of the Challenger. Why are you out this far, Intrepid? We weren't aware of anyone else in this area.
Captain, this is Commander Abasi. We encountered a unique subspace distortion field. We shouldn't have been here, but it seems to have brought us here.
Interesting. Is there any way we can assist?
It doesn't seem like it's affected any of our systems, just spatially displaced us. Right now, I think we don't need any assistance.
Well,
you're close by, so if we do, we'll let you know.
Understood, and we'll slow our speed through the area just in case you want to pop around and say hello. You know how it is. This far out, it's good to see a friendly face now and again. So if you ever want to hang out while we're in the area, give us a call.
I can do that. Abasi out.
And the moment it closes, Varissa turns fully in her chair and says, Sir, this is probably the most reckless thing I've ever suggested, but I think it's time we put Mr. Alexio's skills to the test.
What do you suggest?
Well, that ship is clearly here when it shouldn't be, and we can only pretend we're from the NX era all but so much, but Mr. Alexio has a unique advantage over everyone else that would allow him to infiltrate and find out what's really going on that ship.
I mean, it's somewhat risky, but I wouldn't mind the chance to stretch my legs.
And I can come to and read everybody's minds.
I'm afraid you might blow our cover.
You're afraid to blow your own cover.
Those of us who can pass for human could, in theory, just put on NX era uniforms and beam across. It would be a little weird if we just sent Alexio by himself.
Well, that's sort of what I mean. We wouldn't be sending them just over willy-nilly. We would literally be subterfuging them over. Is that a word? Subterfuging?
I can't believe I'm going to agree with this, but it may be our best bet in understanding where we are currently. So if you are up for it, Lieutenant Alexio, I believe this is going to be your show.
I mean, I'm up for it. If you can help me get aboard that ship, I can come back with all the information I need. We need.
Well, NX era ships don't have shields. They've got a blade of armor plating, so we could actually beam you aboard pretty much without any repercussions. We just need to cloak the signal, but I'm sure Mr. Tavarin has some ideas around that.
I can easily disguise it as background subspace radiation, particularly given the limitations of NX-era sensors.
I would like to create my advantage for this session in the sense that I was pretty prepared to infiltrate a ship, so I studied different potential persona. So I already have a persona picked out for a crewman who would reasonably be out here. Maybe somebody who would reasonably be floating between different ships.
Okay. And what I'm going to say is that that is actually going to increase the difficulty of someone to see through your ruse, at least
Mhm.
for at least one task.
Sure. Because I sort of I've done some pre-research on an actual person I can pretend to be.
Gotcha. And just so, because we're going to handle housekeeping before we go to break. So, the way I'm envisioning how we proceed from here is this is going to be Alexio's show. But if anyone really does want to go over, like if Droxine, if you really want to go over, I'm not going to say no to it because I want you to be involved in having fun too. But in general, this is sort of my way of giving Alexio a bit of stardom because I know I've been a little lax on that in his case. So,
No worries.
All
all
right.
right. In that case, why don't we take our 5 to 10 minute break here? And when we come back, we will be aboard the Challenger. So, Twitch and YouTube, stick around. We'll be back shortly. Oh, welcome back, everybody. If you're just tuning in, the players have arrived in the year 2135, where they're now investigating why the NX-05, the U.S.S. Challenger, is this far out into space, because all reports say that the Challenger should have been destroyed by Romulan forces at this point. So, what the players have decided to do is send their shapeshifter Alexio to go investigate. So our first scene, as we resume, is that we sort of see the interior hallway that leads to sort of this recess where the NX era keeps its transporter. And after a moment, Alexio, you beam in into the hallway. And the good news is that as you finish materializing and as you look around, there doesn't appear to be any other officer in this area. Now, mostly for my sake, I need to know what species you're disguised as and what equipment you brought with you.
I am disguised as a human female,
Okay.
in NX era uniform.
Okay.
The 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 only equipment I brought with me is something that looks like it carries medical equipment because my fake persona is a medical officer,
Mm-hmm.
and my tricorder, which I'm concealing.
Okay. Noted. So you finish materializing, you check everything. Your tricorder came over, hidden in that little tote bag that you're carrying.
Mhm.
And I guess my first question is, what do you do now that you've arrived? Do you go anywhere in particular? Do you seek anyone out? This is sort of your show, and I'm just here to help run it.
Yep, I go to the equivalent of 10 forward,
The
the
equivalent of 10
lounge.
forward. All right.
Yeah.
The one map I don't have.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think I've got a map for this one. So to Theater of the Mind we go. Yay. So, as you proceed through the hallways, you eventually do run into a few people along the way. All human or Vulcan, because at this
Mhm.
point in the timeline, Andoria and the Tellarites, they haven't really, become the Federation yet. So it's just a lot of humans and Vulcans, mostly humans at this point. But you eventually arrive in the mess hall, and compared to the two forward that you guys have on the Bastet, this mess hall is even smaller than that, or at least it feels that way. I don't know if you're familiar at all with the classic sort of submarine mess hall that you would see on a real life ship, like of contemporary time, but those things are like super cramped. You maybe have a few tables, maybe a few chairs. In general, it is more like a can than it is like an actual space to live in. But there are still people here. There's still a few people off duty having a meal, discussing, various bits of topics. But as you look around, I'd like you to roll me an insight and a con, please. Difficulty of 1. And if you have people reading or anything like it as a focus, that would apply.
Yep. All right. Insight on.
All right. That's 2 successes, which means you're capped on momentum. Very nice. So, what you're noticing is that most of the conversations are hushed. Like, normally when you're in a cafeteria, everybody's just chatting willy nilly and they don't really care whoever hears them. This seems more like they're trying to keep secret from even their table neighbors, which doesn't really make sense for a Starfleet vessel.
Yeah. Um, can I spend an extra momentum to know to see if there is a table that is that where somebody's sitting alone, or like
Yes,
somebody is that doesn't need a momentum, but like, is there like a table where somebody's sitting by themselves?
there is indeed. In fact, you do see that there is an enlisted officer, a Master Chief Magnier, that is sitting by herself. Or at least that's what her name
Uh,
tag says, anyway.
Yeah. I'm gonna order some food
Hmm.
and walk over there and ask if I can join.
All right. So the food you're given is standard slop. Kind of they give you a tray that is always wet because drying technology does not exist in the future. And they more or less give you a bit of corn, a few pieces of bread, maybe a little bit of meat. And then when you walk over to Magnier, I should probably describe her a little bit. So she is a larger woman, not by like actual like girth or anything, but she's just large in general, almost like she has very strong Nordic blood, if you will. And she is wearing the standard Starfleet uniform, but the difference is her sleeves are rolled up all the way to her elbows. She has noticeable smudge marks and bits of little tools hooked there, here and there on her uniform. She's also wearing very sort of red rimmed glasses, and her hair is definitely not what you would call Starfleet standard, at least not by your standards, but it's more of this stylized shoulder length black hair that sort of falls in angles and waves, if you will. And as you approach her, she looks up from almost a bite of corn halfway to her mouth, and she says, "Ah, yeah, sure, you can sit here. Go for it, sir."
Oh, thank you. And I'll pull the chair and sit down. Uh, uh, my name is Rebecca. It's nice to meet you.
Uh, Likewise, Rebecca. Can't say I've really run into you before. What department are you with?
Medical, but it's pretty ironic. I've been sick ever since arriving on the ship. I've just been cleared to sort of walk around the decks again.
Oh, you must have been away for quite a long time. Surprised I didn't hear about that by now.
Well, I asked that it was kept hush for my privacy. It's a little embarrassing being a doctor who was too sick to do their job, you know?
Yeah, I can get that. I mean, as chief engineer, I sort of have had to tough through a few bad days of my own, but sounds like you've had the worst of it.
Pretty bad, but it's been it's been weird sort of coming out of this and seeing the way that everyone's acting. Everyone seems a little tense.
And she kind of leans in a little bit and drops her voice as well. Well, you might have missed this, but that's probably because of Starfleet's special orders that they gave us.
Special special orders. I listen. I think that I think that they might be keeping this from me because they think I'm fragile and need more time to recover. But it's been really weird seeing everyone acting like this. Could you maybe just fill me in on what's going on?
I'd like you to roll me a presence and either a command or con. I'll let you do either. I am going to spend a little bit of threat here to make this a difficulty of 3.
All right. Um, I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna tap my determination for the value. I can make anyone a friend.
That
Um,
definitely would apply.
and I will then do presence con with deception focus.
All right. And it's a good thing too, because that is 3
Yeah.
successes on the nose. So Magnier sort of pauses and thinks about that for a few moments, and then her features soften a little bit, and she says, "Well, all right. Starfleet wanted us to head out this way after dealing with the Romulans to ensure a signal was continuously transmitted. I mean, if you're here, it's you might. and she's having difficulty with her words. She's trying to figure out a way to put it in a way that isn't going to look bad on her if someone's eavesdropping. And you can tell she's putting a lot of effort into this. But eventually she manages. We took on a special piece of equipment before we started to head out this way. Um, you being in medical, you probably don't need to know the rest, but I'm supposed to keep the piece of this equipment running no matter what.
Us, 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 I'm sorry. Are we carrying an alien device? Is it dangerous?
Well, no, I don't think it's dangerous per se. It's I haven't been able to get a solid scan of the interior. It's sort of a black box operation. I just have to feed it power.
It sounds a little. It sounds a little. I can see why people would be stressed out having something like that here. Not knowing what it does or why it's here. Do you think we're safe with this on the ship?
Well, I mean, with me as chief engineer, even if it turns to blow out half of deck 8, I'll make the ship work.
Oh well, I I know that we're in good hands. Thanks for filling me in. People people haven't been too friendly, and I think I see why now.
Hmm. Well, of course, sir, if you need anything, let me know. I would be happy to help you. Or do you prefer ma'am? Sorry, it's ever since coming here, I've had so many people tell me so many different things. Being enlisted and all. I just try to make the non-enlisted happy.
You know, why don't you just call me Doctor?
I can do that, doctor.
Um, and I'm sort of gonna finish up what what I'm eating and head out as
Okay.
fast as possible.
All right. And it's a good thing too, because as you arrive back in the initial hallway you came in on, because I think that's actually a good staging point, you do get a subtle chirp that indicates it's your regularly scheduled contact with the Bastet.
Yep. I'll find a sort of a corner and just tap reporting in.
You're muted, Abasi, as is tradition.
Have you been able to find anything out yet?
Yes, it appears that this ship picked up an some kind of alien device or artifact. I don't know what it is, but they've been given the mandate to feed it power and to fly closer to Romulan space.
Interesting.
I don't know if we're going to be able to uncover much more unless if I seek it out. I think it might be in chief engineering.
Did they did you learn anything about what this device is for?
Well, the chief engineer didn't seem to know. That's not to say that she was being completely transparent with me, but I think at least she wasn't fully aware as to the purpose of it. She was just told to keep it powered up.
I see. See if you can get a visual of this device. See if you can find out anything from our own scans from with your tricorder.
Yes, sir.
Keep us informed. Abasi out.
I'm going to tap out. I am going to head to chief engineering, but I am going to spend a momentum to shapeshift again,
Mm-hmm.
now into the form of the chief engineer of the ship.
Okay, to Magnier herself. Well, that actually
Yeah.
makes token work very easily. All right, so we go to the NX engineering bay, and it's that same sort of horizontal warp core, the big old orange cylinder with the support structures keeping it anchored into the ship. And when you walk in, quote unquote, Magnier, what you see is the device you're looking for almost immediately. And the reason for that is because it's actually perched on the top of the warp core. It is a trapezoidal device, and it is pitch black, as in, no matter what angle you look at it, it's almost like looking at a sort of gleaming metal surface. You can't really see if there's any marks on it or if there's any form of input or output. All you can really tell is that there is a cable that runs from presumably the underneath of the device into the warp core. And actually, as you come in, some of the engineers kind of perk up and go, "Hey, Master Chief, are you sure you want these EPS conduits scrubbed by noon?"
Uh, you know what? Most important thing is keeping that device powered. So if you're doing that, it's fine by me.
All right. What do you want us to do about the beta project?
I want you to do what you were instructed to do. I don't feel like I need to repeat myself.
It's definitely going to be a presence command on that one. So presence command. Let's call this a difficulty of 3 as well.
Okay.
You do
I
have
am
4
going.
momentum.
Yeah, and I'm going to spend 3 momentum to get 2 more dice.
Alrighty. I believe. Uh-oh, he might have frozen. Oh, nope, there he goes. He unfroze. There he
Yeah,
goes. Nice.
nice.
So that is 6 successes, which means you get 3 momentum right back. And yeah, the officers sort of look at one another and go, of course, Chief. Sorry. We'll continue as instructed.
Good. I'm just going to do another scan on the device, make sure that it's that everything is hunky dory, and I'll make my way over closer to where the device is.
Okay. So, what I'm going to say at this point is as you sort of clamber up a ladder to get on top of the warp core or maybe up into one of the gangplanks, I'm going to spend 2 threat to make a complication in that the real Magnier walks into engineering from the opposite door you came in on. So, I'm going to put your token on the map in a moment, but she's coming in from over here to the left. You came in from over to the right. And you are, at least as far as I'd like to describe it, you're maybe like right here up on that gangplank. And let me just freehand the device in real quick. The device is more or less this black box right here.
Yep. I'm gonna. So I'm up here. Am I in visual range of anyone right now?
If they were to look up and pay attention to you, yes, but in general, nobody's like giving you the time of day because they just think you're the chief. But that could change very quickly
Yeah.
because of who just walked in.
I'm gonna spend another momentum to shapeshift again into one of the engineers that I saw, the one that was asking me all the questions.
Okay. We'll say that his name was Ensign Thomas. How does that sound?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
And then I am going to try and, as non-descriptively as possible, get a tricorder reading on the device to send back to the Bastet.
So this is going to be very difficult because not only are you trying to be sneaky about it, but it is a device that is resistant to scans. So I will tell you that you have 2 attempts at this. So even if you don't pass the first time, you still get one more attempt before Magnier probably notices you. So what I would say is that this is going to be a difficulty of 4, reason and engineering. And I don't think there's any way for anyone to assist you on this, unfortunately. So this is pretty much, can you manage this on your own? So it is one of those difficult situations where the dice are really going to decide where this goes from here.
I have a
Is
quick
there any
question.
justification? Oh, go ahead.
Can I use my ability as commander to let him have a point of determination?
We'll say yes, and we'll say that you gave him that point of determination when he did his regular scheduled check-in. How about that?
That works.
All right, so you do have determination then.
Okay, cool. Then I will use that for the value. Um, Stay one step ahead of them.
Most definitely would apply.
To get. And so it's still a very difficult roll. So I will spend the momentum that we have, the 3 momentum that we have, for one more die.
Okay, it would only be 2 more momentum.
Also, is there... Oh, only 2 more. Okay, cool. So I also was gonna ask whether I could justify this as reason security, because I'm trying to break the security around the device, which makes it resistant to scans.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, because I have cautious security, so that's why I'm trying to get that in there. So okay, so that's 3. I don't think I have an applicable focus. What would an applicable focus here be?
Reverse engineering, alien technology. What would another one be?
I have jury rigging.
If you were messing with the device, maybe, but you're just scanning it, unfortunately.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I don't think I have an applicable focus, but I do have a reroll. So
all right, well, you do have the 4 successes.
3, 4. Oh, okay.
You certainly could reroll that 0, though, if you wanted a crit fish, or not crit fish, but momentum fish.
Momentum fish? I think that's fine. I mean, yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
So re-rolling that.
All right, so still no help, but you do get the requisite 4 successes, and I believe you're at 1 momentum now. So yeah, Alexio, you get a scan quite easily with your contemporary bit of technology. You can see immediately why it would be an issue for an NX era scan to not work, specifically because this device is similar to the ones used in the sphere building projects. So if you're not familiar, basically the alien species in Enterprise that was behind the Delphic Expanse, was behind the Xindi, sort of getting the Xindi to attack Earth, a known faction in the temporal Cold War.
And can I transmit that information back to the Bastet?
Very easily, yes.
Yeah. All right. So I'll feed that information back over, and then how close am I to this device? Could I reach out and touch it from here?
It would be a bit of a stretch, but you could.
Could I disattach it from here?
No, you would have to actually get on top of the warp core for this.
This is hard because I do not think that I'm gonna get this close again.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a snatch and grab, but I'm gonna be cautious. Is there another exit from the? Is there another exit from engineering rather than the way I came in?
There's 2 exits on this level, the second level that you could leave through.
Yeah, I'm gonna slip out through one of the side doors in order to make contact with the Bastet again and get new orders based on what I sent over.
All right. So before we get to your transporter room sort of staging ground, we're actually going to go back to the Bastet Bridge for a moment. And at this point, everybody is privy to that same information that I've been feeding him so far. And the question is, what do you do with that information before he checks in?
Any thoughts on this?
Well, Captain, we have limited information regarding the contents of this sphere builder's container, but it's entirely possible that this is the device that's going to accelerate the Borg signal. History records that this ship was destroyed. Is it possible that we might be the ones who have to actually execute that?
Our transporter technology is advanced enough that we should be able to transport that device right off their ship. There's no reason to destroy it.
But if we're trying to restore the timeline, its very existence, I don't know.
According to our history logs, the ship should have been destroyed by this point already. That's already been altered. If we can avoid it, I don't want to be the one to destroy them.
Wasn't the mission to track a signal from that was going out to the Borg?
And to stop it.
We assume, I mean, we should be able to track that signal, right? It's not coming from this ship, is it?
And Verissa turns and goes, now that I think to look for it, yes, the signal is coming from the ship.
We need to destroy this device or get it off that ship.
I mean, there's no reason we couldn't do both, right? We beam it 4,000 light years or 4,000 meters off the port bow and fired the phasers at it.
If I may, we can't actually stop the signal. I mean, Starfleet's encounter with the Borg led to technological developments that assisted us in the Dominion War. If we did that, if that signal doesn't go out as it was originally intended at the right speed, then we could be living under Dominion rule when we get back instead of the Borg.
And Mira actually turns in her seat and says, I actually agree with Tavarin on this one. I think it's not a matter of destroying the device, but getting a hold of it and modifying it. At least until we modify the signal transmission so that the signal still arrives at the right time. I think we're just going to be in a bigger mess if we destroy it outright.
Captain, with your permission, I'd like to go to the transporter room and try to modulate the annular confinement beams to narrow them such that we might be able to get a lock on this black box now that we know where it is, or maybe even its contents. We could steal it right from under their noses without their even being aware of it.
And it's right about then that Alexio checks in.
Captain, did you get the information I sent over?
Lieutenant, yes, we did. We were discussing our plan of action on it as you checked in.
What do you need from me?
Our current thought is to attempt to beam it off of the ship so that we can take care of the issue more at our leisure.
If you're able to penetrate the black box, yes, I mean, we could do that without them even noticing. What would you need on my end?
I'm going to need you to ensure that we'll be able to get it off of that ship without any interference.
Captain, if I may,
Go ahead.
what if we beamed a replica of that device onto their ship? The signal isn't supposed to originate from here, right? And if we presume that the timeline has already been altered in some way, we don't want to alter it anymore, I suppose, we could give them a facsimile of this device. Same black casing, same power draw, just not doing the same thing. They can't detect the signal being broadcast anyway.
Or can they?
Out of character,
don't-
they shouldn't be able to. At least I might have said differently, but no, out of character, they have no idea what this thing's doing.
Oh, then I will not have said that.
So if Transporter Room 2 is beaming it out while Transporter Room 3 beams in a facsimile, we can remove it without them having any inkling that ever happened.
We just need to make sure that no one's watching that area of engineering while we effect the sleight of hand magic trick, as it were.
Causing a distraction.
Think you can do that for us?
I think I can do that.
All right. Give us 15 minutes to get this set up. I'll contact you when it's time.
All right.
And
Abasi
we're gonna
out.
go back to main engineering, as I'm curious, what sort of distraction are you going to be setting up here, Alexio?
I am going to once again become this Rebecca character, but
Mhm.
I am going to because I have the shifting mastery talent, exhibit the wounds and just gross pustules, like anything, like I have the plague, basically.
Okay.
And I'll just start like screaming and moaning and be like, oh no, I I I I was wrong. They cleared me too soon. I really am a terrible doctor. Oh God, get away! I'm highly contagious. Oh God.
All right, so let's break down what's going to happen here. So your performance check is going to help set the difficulty for the transporter
Okay.
check. So what I'm going to say is I'm actually going to make this a variable difficulty, meaning you get to choose how difficult this task is. The higher the difficulty, the easier it's going to be on the Bastet to do this little sleight of hand. This is
Okay.
going to be a presence and a con. And if you have deception as a focus, which I think you do,
I do. Yeah.
this would apply as a focus.
All right.
And you only have one momentum at the moment.
I am gonna do this as a difficulty. What do you think, guys? Between 2 and 3.
I'd say go for 5. Just YOLO. I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Make our
Well,
difficulty like a 1. Come on, you're the master of deception. Decept. Do it.
I was going to say difficulty 3, but
Yeah.
you know.
Let's do 3. Let's do 3. Oh no.
Oh no.
Captain, you're muted.
Not
Oh
now.
no.
Yeah.
So I think what this is going to mean is that you're still going to cause a distraction, just not in the way you suspected. Instead of drawing eyes away from the device, paradoxically, Magnier's focus goes to the device and says, "They're trying it again. Everybody keep your eyes on the device. And you, tie her up. Get security down here." And so, what this now means is that whoever is doing the transporting has a very difficult task ahead of them. So, let's break it down. This was originally a control engineering assisted by the ship's sensors engineering at a difficulty of 2. Your target is not on a transporter pad. That's a difficulty of 3. The target of the transport is a transporter pad, so it stays at a 3. You're doing this from a transporter room, goes back down to a 2. The presence of Alexio's failure, unfortunately, does ramp up the difficulty to a 4. And then with my last remaining threat, I'm going to make it a difficulty of 5. But what
Got
I
the
would
ship.
say is you will be able to also beam away Alexio if you so wish.
I was thinking of just leaving him behind, but cut our losses. No, I will attempt to beam both of them off. However, noticing the activity in engineering, I would calm up to the captain and tell him, "Sir, I believe that based on my readings from the transporter, Lieutenant Alexio may be in some danger. I could use some assistance with the modulation of the phase emitters of the transporter."
All right, I'll be down there in a moment to give you some help.
Thank you, Captain.
What would you want, Wolf? I saw you raising your hand there. What's up?
Well, I was just to see if I could assist with the ship's sensors to get rid of all the background, like radiation from this weird thing, and like their engine, which is an old NX class engine, so it's just leaking radiation. I want to try to hone in and assist that way.
I tell you what, you can either have Cater's assist or Abassy's assist, but Abassy wouldn't be rolling a command on this one, so your advisor would not come into play.
That's fine.
I've got sensor operations, so
Be my guest, Doctor.
my man.
All right, so Cater, you are going to be rolling a control and a science. The Bastet did not get you an assist, unfortunately.
Let's see. Would I have time to apply
Yikes.
mental repository?
16.
I'll give it to you. I'll give you mental repository.
Okay. Then I will spend my determination to get 2 free successes based on...
Yes, the question is what value?
Yeah.
Spend the momentum, too.
Oh, I'm definitely going to. Could I sell you on he is desperate to uphold his family honor? And no, that doesn't make any sense.
No, actually, I think it does, because based on your earlier conversation with Cater, you might not respect the gentleman, but you at least respect him enough to work with him and to just let Cater let you down or not rely on Cater as like a coworker. Like maybe you're just trying to be a better person is what I'm getting at.
And he has repeatedly asserted that Starfleet is like a family, so that makes some degree of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I will also use augmented ability control because this is a control engineering task, and I'll spend...
it would be 1 momentum, 1 threat for the additional die.
Yeah, let's do that. So 3d20 applicable focus.
And you knock it out of the park. So, Alexio, from your standpoint, everything starts to turn blue as you're beamed away, but you also notice that the device is simultaneously swapped, and Magnier is just shouting epithets and curse words as she tries to get her engineers to block the transport, but they're an NX ship. They can't block crap. So, moments later, Alexio, you arrive in the transporter room to see the smiling face, or maybe not smiling face, I don't know, of Mr. Tavarin. Oh God, I didn't clean up this room. Now half the people aren't here.
Thank you for getting me out of there. That was a little tricky near the end there.
And Tavarin
Ignore
is
the
going to just...
boils and pustules. These are just cosmetic.
Yeah, I was going to say that Tavarin is staring at him with a look of almost apoplectic horror, and then as he is reassured that this is just an affectation, he sort of sighs. Okay. That's really effective work. I'm surprised that didn't actually fool them.
Yes, I think it. I think that people have tried this before. It was not their first go around. Somebody had been trying to steal that device.
And you didn't find out who?
Oh, well, there was just a lot of yelling at the end there, and then the next thing I know, I'm here.
You want me to beam you back? I think that might be wise.
Don't do that. They'll kill me.
Now, let's be honest. These are still Federation officers. I'm sure that they wouldn't kill you. They might torture you, but
Uh,
No Federation.
fair.
Yeah, I was gonna say no Federation yet. This is still, I think, United Earth Command.
No,
It's
this
close
is extremely primitive. These are extremely primitive people, Tavarin.
I think you underestimate the distance that humanity has traveled. It's been a long road, but they've gotten here. So,
From getting from there to here.
and I think that would be it for us.
Yeah, I think that
Long
before we start
road.
singing the damn song, I think
Yeah,
that is where we're
Getting
gonna
from
end this
here to
session.
there.
Can somebody mute Wolf?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was a fun session. I hope you guys had fun. It certainly seemed like it.
I was really glad to see Alexio have some like badass fucking star time. That was brilliant.
Yes.
Good job, man.
Thanks. I haven't gotten to use the shifting that much, so it was fun to get to use that this time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was my goal, to get you some star time and some use of your talents, because talents you don't get to use are boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, this is where I'm going to end the YouTube recording. So Twitch, stick around, but YouTube, this is where we say goodbye. Bye, YouTube.